so that's how it works. And with that, I'll turn it over to Jen.
Hi, thanks, Molly. And if you want to, oh, okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Okay, can you see that? Can you see it says it's green? Okay, cool. All right, so my name is Jen. I've been teaching essential oil classes. Well, I've been using essential oils for about 10 years. I have 3 children. I live in Verona, New Jersey, and we use oils for everything and anything. When the kids, when they have an issue or something's going on, they know I'm going to suggest an oil. They'll even ask for an oil. They will, they know what oils to pull out for certain things. So it really is such an empowering tool to really have an essential oil for anything, right? It's like whatever's going on, there's an essential oil for that. So we're going to talk about the basics today, but I'd love to, just share my experience with the oils and give you some ideas how you can use it in your home as well. I do these classes really to not just teach about the power of essential oils, but also to really create an experience in your home where you can turn your home into this wellness oasis, right? And with the situations that we're going through right now, culturally, politically, and everything, emotionally, physically, right, spiritually, there's so many things. There's no, I don't think there's any other modality of wellness tools that encompass so many aspects of wellness. So we're going to go into it, and like Molly said, if you have any questions, put them in the question box. Okay, so what is an essential oil? Essential oil, so if you have, I actually have a huge peppermint plant in my backyard, and if I get the peppermint leaf, I pick it off and I can put my fingers on the peppermint leaf and smell my fingers, and I'll smell the essential oil of that peppermint leaf got transferred onto my fingertips. So I can smell that, and that essential oil in the plant gave a lot of properties to the plant. It makes the plant antiviral, antifungal. It keeps pests away from the plants. It really works like the immune system of the plant. And chemically speaking, it's very similar to the blood in our own body. So you can see how when we transfer it to our own use, that those essential oils can have a lot of powerful tools as well for us. So aromatic oils are distilled or pressed from plants. Essential oils have been used for thousands of years. Oops, okay, clicked trying to see it. I'm getting covered by the webinar. Okay, there we go. Have been used for thousands of years for cosmetic purposes. So we've heard about, Cleopatra using essential oils for beauty, for spiritual and emotional uplifting properties. All right, so they conveniently come in these little bottles for us. So it's a volatile substance derived from plants containing the natural smell and characteristics of the plants. So what it does for the plant, it can do for us and have even more benefits. The purest essential oils are far more powerful than the botanicals from which they were created. So you're probably familiar with maybe herbs or teas, and they work in a similar way, but I would say it's very different. Essential oils are very different than, say, taking an herb. For instance, when you take an herb, it has to go through your digestive system. So it has to get processed through the digestive system, where an essential oil can actually get absorbed into the skin and go straight to the bloodstream. So an essential oil does not have to go through the digestive system, and they're very, very powerful. 1 drop of peppermint essential oil is equivalent to 25 cups of peppermint tea. So I'll say it again, 1 drop of peppermint essential oil is equivalent to 25 cups of peppermint tea. So that means that what you need to make 25 cups, the amount of plant material that you need to make 25 cups of peppermint tea, that's the same amount of peppermint material, plant material of the peppermint plant that gets distilled to create an essential oil. All right, So essential oils are potent, volatile, and versatile. So what do I mean by volatile? Volatile means that the molecules rise quickly in the air and generate the smell. So what's interesting is that if you get a bottle of essential oil and you just leave it there on your table, the molecules are going to pop out of that bottle without any, like, you can put it across the room and you'll smell the little molecules that will just pop out of the bottle. So they're moving, right? So that's what we mean by volatile. Historically, essential oils are man's first medicine. So we can see references of essential oils in the Bible. There's over 600 references to essential oils in the Bible. We can find essential oils in Egyptian tombs. And a question that I always get is, you know, I have an essential oil, and what's the expiration date of it? How long does it last? Well, we know from Egyptian tombs that when we're dealing with a pure therapeutic grade, you know, they had like the most pure, because they didn't have synthetics back then, right? So they didn't have chemistry labs to make synthetic compounds in when the Egyptians were around. And they, you know, so their oils were pure, they were unadulterated. And when you have an essential oil that's pure, then you can have that essential oil will expire about 1,000 to 2,000 years later. So, because we know that they're still therapeutic today. So your pure essential oil will not go bad. All right, so amazing facts. 1 drop of an essential oil contains 40 million trillion molecules. So another way of thinking about it is that you have approximately 100 trillion cells in your body. So 1 drop of an essential oil contains enough molecules to cover every single cell in your body 40,000 times. So that's a lot of molecules. And we're going to talk a little bit later about purity and safety of essential oils and testing of them. And it's so important that you know where your essential oils are coming from, because really there is no lab known to man that can test 40 million trillion molecules. It will take a gazillion years, right, to test all those molecules. So, you know, in a lab. So it really is important. We're going to talk about that later, about the purity. I really want to quickly go over the frequencies of essential oils and the reason why this is important. So let me give you some examples. You probably have an understanding of frequency when it comes to an EKG, you know, monitoring your heart, the frequency of your heart, or, you know, your radio works with frequencies, Wi-Fi, right? It's all frequencies. Well, everything has a frequency, including your bones in your body, the food that you eat, everything has a frequency to it. So someone who's very energetic is going to have a higher frequency than someone who's sleeping, right? And you can actually, there's different devices that can measure the frequency of that. There's also, let's say, the difference of frequency between fresh lettuce that you just picked from your garden versus the frequency of a can of beans, right? The fresh lettuce, that's going to have a higher frequency. Well, essential oils have frequencies that far go beyond any type of food. Oh, just real quick, I want to also say that thoughts can also have frequencies. So a positive thought can raise your frequency, whereas a negative thought or feelings of sadness can lower your frequencies. And actually, you know, when you eat foods, it can raise your frequencies or lower them depending on if they're healthy or not. Now, this is important because the higher your frequency is, the less of a chance for pathogens like viruses and bacteria, they're not going to want to grow in a person who has a higher frequency. So that's why it's like, you know, eat good food, stay positive, all these good things, right? We want to keep our frequencies up. Well, essential oils also have frequencies, and they are very high. So right here I have some frequencies of essential oils listed, and we have basil at the bottom, which is 52 megahertz, and it goes all the way up to rose, which is 320 megahertz. So very high frequency. Rose is a very special oil, essential oil, and you can see them listed there. So it's an interesting fact, I think, to learn about the frequencies. Okay, how are essential oils distilled from the plants? Now we're going to go over the different ways, but I want to show you this picture because it goes over the steam distillation. So you see that big pot? That's a huge pot. Like think of your largest pasta pot in your kitchen, right? This is like, I don't know, maybe like 50 times the size of your pasta pot, right? And this pot actually exceeds down into the ground. So it goes where this woman is standing. This pot is going to go lower into the ground. And underneath, it's going to have water. And that water is going to be heated up at a temperature that's very controlled and produce steam. The steam rises, and then in this picture, you can see the plant material on the top of the pot. When the steam rises, it collects the essential oil sacs from the plant material that you see here. And then all the way at the top of the pot and the lid, you see the little pipe that goes down, right? That's the condenser. So the essential oils get collected into the steam and then goes through that pipe to the condenser. And then we all know that essential oils, or oils, not essential oils, we all know that oils and water don't mix, right? So once it condenses, the steam turns into liquid water. And over time, the oil will rise and the water will settle at the bottom. So then they turn that water into an ice cube. You can put cold temperature in it, and then you can just pour off the oil, off the essential oil, which will not freeze. They can pour off the essential oil off that ice cube to separate it. So it's really interesting how that is done through steam. So there are 4 basic extraction methods of essential oils. Steam distillation, which I just went over, is number 1, probably the most common. Most essential oils are distilled using steam. It is important, see this pot, the cooker here, you don't want your essential oils being distilled with steam in an aluminum pot. You want that pot, this is made out of stainless steel. You don't want your essential oils being mixed with metals like aluminum or anything like that, or plastic. So steam distillation is a very precise process. Cold pressing, we probably know about this through, you've probably heard about cold pressing of olive oil. Well, cold pressing can also be done with essential oils, resin tapping, which we'll talk about, and absolute oil extraction. So these are the 4 basic extraction methods. As I said, steam distillation is the most common distillation process. It allows us to extract essential oils from very delicate plant materials. You can control that temperature so that it's not burning, right? You don't want to burn your essential oils because you'll lose that therapeutic quality that we want to help us. And during the process, it's critical to control the temperature and to also avoid pressure buildup that will burn the oils. Okay, cold pressing is usually done with citrus oils, so your lemon, your orange, and you've probably also had experience with the essential oils of citrus plants, because if you ever use a recipe where it says to use the zest from a lemon, right, and you zest your lemon, and that zest actually, it's pretty yellow flakes, right, but the recipe really doesn't want the yellow, it wants the essential oils that's in the lemon rind. So when you squeeze the essential oil from the rind of the citrus fruit, that's where we get our citrus essential oils. So this is cold pressing. It's specifically used for citrus oils and also fatty oils, like I said, olive oil. Citrus oils contain delicate citral molecules that are broken down via steam distillation. So they become bitter. It's better not to use the heat in steam distillation with our citrus oils. And it's achieved by placing a heavy weight over a container of plant material. Okay, resin tapping. So this is really interesting. The resin is used for frankincense essential oil, myrrh essential oil, usually tree essential oils that come from trees. So what happens, as we can see this picture of the tree, you tap the tree and it creates a wound into the bark. And when we get a wound, if I cut my arm or my skin, I'll bleed out blood, right? But trees don't have blood, right? So some trees will bleed out a resin, and it'll basically work as, being, antimicrobial for that cut in the tree. It'll protect the tree. It has all sorts of medicinal properties for the health of that tree. So that resin is very valuable and has lots of properties that we want, right? So you can get that resin and then use it in the steam distillation. So first you resin tap it and then you put it in the steam distillation. So it's a technique commonly used to extract frankincense, myrrh, COPAIBA, which is a special oil we'll talk about later. Resin is collected from the plant and then steam distilled, which gives rise to the essential oils. And then the fourth extraction is absolute extraction. And not many essential oils use this method. Jasmine and neroli are two that are commonly used by absolute oil extraction. And that's because those plants are so fragile. They're so gentle. They can't even withstand steam done at a very low temperature. So it's a very complicated technique because it uses a solvent. A solvent is a substance that helps dissolve another substance, so it helps to take the essential oil out of the plant. In the case of some essential oils, the plant material is too delicate for steam distillation. That's why they turn to absolute oil extraction. And the solvent helps to pull the essential oil out of the plant without compromising the integrity of the oil. Then in order to separate the solvent from the essential oil, a second extraction method is used to take that solvent out for the final absolute oil. So, so it does use some steam in that second extraction, but it's done very, very gently so that the oil is not damaged. Okay, so characteristics of a genuine essential oil. They can quickly penetrate the tissue of skin tissue. Essential oils contain some of the most powerful antioxidants. So if you heard of the ORAC score, clove essential oil has one of the top highest ORAC values on the chart. And ORAC measures the antioxidant content. Essential oils can benefit the body in several ways, enhancing mood, support overall wellness, well-being, maintaining healthy body systems, promote relaxation, and much more. Essential oils contain many constituents, including sesquiterpenes, which have the ability to pass the blood-brain barrier. So the quickest way to the limbic system, which is your memory and emotions, everything is, your brain, the quickest way to access it is your sense of smell, your olfactory nerve. So essential oils can pass that blood-brain barrier through the olfactory nerve in a way that is harmonious with the body. It's not going to cause a headache or cause a reaction. What's an example? Like do you ever go to Bed Bath & Beyond, or let's think of pre-quarantine days, right? Where we are in the stores and you walk into Bed Bath & Beyond, what do you smell? The first thing you smell, you're like, boom, that smell, right? Of there's like, I don't know if it's a chemical or a candle, something like that, right? Well, but that smell is very distinct and memorable, right? So by the time I walk out of that store, I have a headache. So why does that happen? It actually is because the molecules that I'm smelling, those synthetic molecules, are crossing my blood-brain barrier, but they're doing it in a way that is like a bulldozer. It just crashes through your blood-brain barrier. Where essential oils, remember I said the molecules are volatile, so if you open your bottle, you can see them. You can't see them, but you can smell them. Essentially, you can see them, right? They just pop out of that bottle without a diffuser or anything. And that's because the molecules are so small that they can just, go into the air like that. So they can also go through our olfactory nerve across the blood-brain barrier and affect our emotions. So they really have powerful effects on the emotions. Okay, let's talk about high quality essential oils. I always like to go over this because I never want to teach a class on essential oils and you have an expectation of what to achieve from your oil, or you get damaged. You can have side effects from essential oil for not using quality high essential oils. So it's really important, this part of the workshop. So you want your supplier to own their own farms where they raise, harvest, distill their essential oil. You want them to be a whole part of that process so they can see it. There is a lot of corruption in the essential oil industry that if your supplier buys from a vendor, there are ways for your vendor to manipulate the oil to then sell it to the supplier, and then your supplier tests the oil to make sure it's pure, right? And remember earlier when we said, did you know that there are enough molecules in one drop of essential oil to cover every single cell in your body 40,000 times, right? And I said, that means that there really is no laboratory that can test that many molecules, that there are ways to manipulate the molecules or add something to the molecules to make that essential oil cheaper while also compromising the quality, purity, and safety of the oil. So you want your supplier not to trust a vendor. You want your supplier to be the entire process of the essential oil life, okay? So we'll talk more about that. But you also want your farms to be free of pesticides, herbicides, and chemical fertilizers. If there is anything in your essential oil bottle that doesn't belong there, whether it's a pesticide or something, that oil is going to go into your body or your olfactory nerve or cross your blood-brain barrier or whatever. It's going to then drag that synthetic chemical in with it, and you do not want that. You want oils that are pure, unadulterated, safe, effective. So oils must be tested in labs to ensure they meet stringent specifications, exceed international standards, and contain optimal levels of natural bioactive compounds. And this is important that to make sure that your oil is not only pure, but also therapeutic quality. So you have an oil that, when I say that lavender oil is going to be helpful to go to sleep at night, that it's actually going to do that, right? The supplier must have a wide variety of essential oils. Okay, this might not be a requirement, but it's one of my requirements. I want to have a variety of essential oils and blends to choose from. We use different oils for different things, and I want to have that variety there. The supplier must be completely transparent in the process from the time the seed is planted in the ground until the time the bottle is sealed shut. You want to make sure your supplier is, transparent. Okay, so what do I mean by from the time the seed is planted to the time the bottle is sealed shut? That means you want to make sure that the seeds are non-GMO, they are the right species. So there's actually different species of lavender. Pure therapeutic lavender is from the species Lavendula augustifolia, but there's different species that are cheaper to grow. So, you want to make sure that that seed is the right therapeutic grade oil that you can rely on. So from the time the seed is planted, then it gets cultivated. Cultivation, depending on the plant, has to be at a certain time of the day, a certain temperature, a certain season. And then distillation, sometimes the oil has to go directly from cultivation to distillation right away, or it'll lose its therapeutic quality, or the plant material sometimes needs to sit out for a little bit. In order for it to have that therapeutic quality, the plant material will get cultivated and then it hangs out before it gets distilled. Then there's testing and then sealing the bottle. So all this, I think the best way to go about this is to call your supplier, your essential oil supplier, and say, hey, can I go to one of your farms? Can I visit one of your farms? Can I see what's going on? And if they're transparent in that, then you know that you're dealing with a supplier that is producing a high quality. So why does purity matter? Well, I like to give the example of tea tree oil because it's probably most notable. That tea tree essential oil, if you smell tea tree essential oil, it actually smells a little bit like turpentine, which is interesting. And that's because some of the molecules are similar of tea tree oil and the molecules of turpentine. They have some similar molecules in it. One of the molecular compounds in tea tree oil is like terpene, and it has another, it's a very long chemical word that I never memorized, but it sounds like turpentine, but longer, a lot more syllables, right? So it's no wonder that they smell similar. Well, it also, molecular speaking, it is a cheap way to sell essential oil, tea tree essential oil, if you dilute the tea tree oil with turpentine, because turpentine is cheaper. So if a essential oil vendor wants to make a little more money, they can put the turpentine in the tea tree oil, test it in the lab. It will test as pure tea tree oil because the molecules, like I said, are similar. And it'll get that label 100% pure tea tree oil on it when it actually has turpentine. So my friend was buying tea tree oil from a local store that you probably all go to, a local health food store. And she was like, Jen, I bought the tea tree oil and I was putting it on my blemish like you told me to, and it got rid of the blemish the next day. And I was like, oh, that's great. And she said, yeah, and I also got a burn mark too. Is that normal? And I said, no, it's not normal. Tea tree oil should not cause burning, but turpentine will. So her bottle said 100% pure on it. It was a high quality trusted store. It was a high quality trusted brand, but tea tree oil should not burn the skin. So their purity does matter. You do not want to put turpentine on your skin. And this is not just a case with tea tree. There's actually more, when we talk about lavender, there's more lavender sold in the world, sold in America than grown in the entire world. So how does that happen, right? So that means that some of our pure lavender oil is actually not pure. So additives and impurities can reduce the efficacy and expected benefits of essential oils. In fact, depending on what fillers or contaminants have been added, the final result could be toxic to you. So you want to make sure, that's why I really emphasize the supplier, because it's a serious matter. And I never want anyone to come to my workshops and learn about essential oils and then get hurt from them. So those are important. Okay, so we have 4 different grades of essential oils. The first grade is therapeutic grade, which is extracted from sustainably raised plants. And most importantly, they contain optimal levels of natural plant compounds found in organic botanicals. So peppermint oil has menthol in it, right? And that's what gives that cooling sensation, right? Menthol. And peppermint oil is, it needs, for it to be therapeutic, it needs a certain level of the menthol. I don't know what the level is, but it has a specific level that it needs to be at for it to be considered therapeutic. And there's other compounds too that need to be within thresholds. Organic essential oils don't necessarily have to be therapeutic. So they are labeled as natural. They're from plants that pass the growing standards, but may or may not contain the optimal levels of important compounds for therapeutic. Extended and altered oils are considered fragrance grade because they are used for aroma only. And I don't get it into this webinar, but you can do some research on the difference between the French model of aromatherapy and the English model of aromatherapy. And English model aromatherapy is mostly using the fragrance grade essential oils. And they have, more warnings in the English model of aromatherapy because they can't guarantee that purity. So the French model of aromatherapy is what I'm teaching you today. And synthetic oils are nature identical oils. They are created in a laboratory. Oops, that's all. I would not recommend synthetic oils. You want to be careful with that. Always read the bottle label for specific use on each oil. Your bottle will say how to use your oil if it's different ways. So let's go around. There are 3 ways that you can use your essential oil. The first is aromatic. So this is when you use a diffuser. So in this picture, I have a diffuser The diffuser on the left actually does not use water, and the diffuser, you can see a mist coming out of that dome-shaped diffuser, and that uses water. So either of them, you want it to be an ultrasonic diffuser. Also, just smelling from your hands, if you put an essential oil drop on your hands and smelling it. There's diffuser jewelry that you can put on a necklace, or even you can put it in your hair. You can put it on your skin, but I don't consider that aromatic. That's more topical use. So, and then actually the cheapest way is just to smell directly from the bottle. You don't even need to take a drop. So if I'm feeling tired and maybe I'm driving a long distance, I can just take my peppermint bottle out and just smell directly from the bottle, and it'll wake up your brain, and you don't even need to take a drop. Your cheapest diffuser is a cotton ball. So you can put 2 to 3 drops of an essential oil on your cotton ball. You could place that cotton ball in air vents, in stinky shoes, in your refrigerator, in the garbage can, next to your bed, lots of places. And do not use essential oils in humidifiers. The plastic of humidifiers usually are not recommended for essential oils. They're not sturdy enough, and they will break down. And you don't want to be mixing plastic and essential oils. So internally, if the label of the essential oil indicates that it can be used as a dietary supplement, you can add it to a glass of water. And remember what I said about humidifiers, the plastic can leach into, it can degrade when we use essential oils in the humidifier. Similarly, we don't want to be adding essential oils to our water, our glass of water, if we're having a cup made out of plastic. So I either like to use stainless or glass. You can also take them internally with a vegetable capsule. So you can add a couple of drops of your essential oil to an empty capsule, or you can add it to a recipe. So we add lime essential oil to our guacamole, or lemon to hummus or a salad dressing. And the third way to use your essential oil is topically. So you can apply oils directly on the desired area. I always recommend diluting if you're applying from the chest or higher, because that skin is just more sensitive. You want to follow the directions on the bottle, but we're going to talk about carrier oils in a minute. And when we dilute an essential oil, when you're using a pure essential oil, diluting it with a carrier oil isn't necessarily for safety. A lot of people think that dilution is necessary for the oil to be safe. It's actually more important for the oil to be comfortable to the skin. So you don't want to burn the skin or create a sensation that makes you really cold or warm or spicy, right? So we dilute the oil for comfort to the skin, and also because, you know, if I wanted to massage an essential oil on my back, well, 1 drop is not really gonna get too much surface area on my back, right? So the carrier oil will help carry that essential oil to a larger surface area. Suggested areas for topical application is feet, behind the ears, wrist, the neck area, the base of your skull and the back. The spine is a good place. If you think of the nerves in your body like little roads for the essential oils to travel on, the spine is a really good place. And the feet are a good place too, because of 2 reasons. We do have large pores on the bottom of the feet, and also what we know of reflexology. But I actually, the last time I taught at the Montclair Public Library, I was explaining to them that the feet is a good place because if you put a piece of garlic in your shoe, you'll actually start to taste it by the end of the day. And one of the attendees raised his hand. He's like, that actually happened to me once. And I was like, that's really funny. Why do you put garlic in your shoes? And he said it's because he's a chef, and I guess he was wearing sandals and a piece of garlic clove. I don't know why he didn't take it out. But the garlic clove got in there, and he was tasting garlic by the end of the day. So probably not recommended if you're right before a date, but it's a funny experiment to do if you want to know why the feet are a good place to put your essential oils. So you can create also homemade baths and beauty products like sugar scrubs. DIY gifts are really great using the essential oils as a cheap gift for, you know, school is ending, a teacher gift, or Father's Day, something like that. Layer oils by applying them on top of one another, or by using a carrier oil. So carrier oils are vegetable oils. They are not essential oils. They're used for dilution. Like I said before, dilution, when you're using a pure essential oil, dilution is not necessary for safety. It's more for comfort or for covering a larger skin surface. So examples would be coconut oil, sweet almond oil, grapeseed oil, jojoba oil, olive oil. And remember, it's never too late to dilute. So if you put an essential oil on your skin and you feel like, ooh, that's a little spicy, or I don't like the feeling of that, or maybe you put some peppermint on your head and then you went and you itched your eye, and then your eye feels like it's got a squirt of toothpaste in it, right? Go get your carrier oil. It's never too late. Just erase it. Don't use water. Oil and water do not mix, so the water will actually drive it in deeper. Okay, essential oil safety tips. Like I said, no eyes or ears. If you accidentally get it in your eyes, flush with a carrier oil, not water. If skin sensitivity does occur, you want to dilute with a carrier oil. Also keep in mind, when you get a massage, after the massage, the masseuse will say, when you go home today, make sure you drink extra water, right? Have you heard that? So same thing with essential oils. Even if you're taking them internally or diffusing them, it doesn't necessarily have to be topical application of them. But when you're using essential oils, they can detoxify your body like a massage does. It increases that circulation and gets things flowing. So skin sensitivity can occur. Sometimes if someone's detoxifying or using oils too fastly, they can get a little nauseous or a minor headache. I would say in that situation, just like your masseuse says, drink extra water, make sure you're hydrated. You know, I would maybe, depending on how you're feeling, lay off the essential oils for a couple of days and get your hydration up. You should be drinking half your body weight in ounces of water. So say if you weigh 160 pounds, divide that by 2 is 80. So that means in a day you should be drinking 80 ounces of water. Citrus oils are photosensitive, so that's important for this time of year as we go into the summer. You don't want to put a citrus oil on topically and then go out in the sun. So put it where the sun don't shine. And I only ingest Young Living oils because they are labeled for dietary instruction, but never ingest an essential oil that is generally regarded as safe. That is not, never ingest it, if it's not generally regarded as safe. Sorry, I was reading that wrong. You want to make sure that it is, you know, approved and labeled correctly for ingestion. I don't want to give any tips here on how to ingest oils and then you guys, you know, ingest oils that are not labeled for that. So that's important. So let's go over some essential oils. This is usually the part of my workshop at the Montclair Library where I'm passing around the oils and the room smells amazing. And everyone is so, you know, engaged in the experience. So I wish you could smell what I have here, but since you can't smell it, pretend you can. And if there is an oil that you would like, just message me on my website at plusoils.com and I'd be happy to pop it in the mail if you've never smelt one of these oils before, and I can send that to you. So lavender essential oil. Another good way to smell the oil, if sometimes this is too strong for people, so you can hold it lower and kind of waft it up like this from the bottle, because that's a lot of drops in a bottle. It's about 80 to 100 drops in a 5 milliliter bottle. So lavender oil is comforting and calming. You can unwind at night with it for relaxation. It's great for laundry sprays, and it can also be added to your shampoos or lotions. I would only add it to your shampoos or lotions if they are organic. But yeah, lavender is great for the skin. It is great for, actually in the kitchen the other day, I burned my finger. So I just put a drop of lavender oil on it and it felt better. So lavender is pretty magical. It's one of those oils that has so many uses, and so does peppermint. Peppermint has a lot of uses as well. Peppermint essential oil, it's cooling, it's instant air conditioned. So if I'm having a hot day, just put a couple of drops on the back of my neck, and it will cool you down. So some people will make a spray bottle with water and put a couple drops of the peppermint and make a mist to take to the beach with them. You can use peppermint to support your digestive system. You can use it to suppress appetite, and it's great for exercise or any kind of tension in your forehead or shoulders or neck. Peppermint is, it's also yummy. I make it with brownies. I'll put it in my brownies and make chocolate mint brownies, which is really good. So lemon essential oil. So lemon, most of our, well, actually all of our citrus oils are very cleansing to the body. They actually dissolve the chemicals that have contributed and accumulated throughout the years. So when we add lemon, I'll add it to my glass of water, lemon oil, or I also like, this is called Citrus Fresh. It's a blend of citrus oils that I like with a little bit of spearmint in it. But I'll add it to my water and drink it, and it's very cleansing to the body. It's a great way to start your day. You can add it to recipes like I make hummus or salad dressing with the lemon essential oil in it. And this lemon essential oil is labeled for essential oil supplementation. So you don't want to be doing that with an oil that's not. You can also clean your vegetables with lemon oil. So if you get a bowl of water, add a couple drops of your lemon oil to it, and then clean your apples or whatever you're washing in there. What else for lemon? It's great for concentration, to diffuse it, and retaining information. So if you're studying or working, it's good for that. Frankincense, we talked about this before when we were talking about resin tapping of the essential oils and how it comes from the resin. So frankincense is actually a tree. It was one of the essential oils that was brought to the Christ child at his birth, at Jesus's birth. And it has it smells like church, right? It has that smell of church. It's very earthy. It's grounding. Tree essential oils are very grounding. And what do I mean by that? It actually brings your focus inward, helps you connect to the earth. So you're not having a lot of white noise of frantic space up in your head, but you're actually more focused, more purposeful. It is great for your skin, frankincense, and it's very relaxing. It's good for before bedtime as well. Thieves essential oil, oh my goodness, guys. With everything that's going on right now, Thieves is a great essential oil to add to your masks. You need Thieves on your mask if you're wearing a mask. It supports a healthy immune system. So I will make a tea with Thieves. So I'll just get some warm water, put a drop of Thieves in it, maybe a little honey, and sip that to support my immune system. It includes, so Thieves actually, so we've been talking about singles, right? Lavender is a single, peppermint, lemon, these are all plants and singles. But Thieves, there's no Thieves plant, right? So Thieves is a blend of essential oils. So in here, there's clove, lemon, cinnamon, eucalyptus, and rosemary. So it's a very warm smell. It smells like the fall, okay? And because the eucalyptus is in here, it helps to maintain healthy respiratory system. It can contribute to overall wellness. It is the oil right now in our house. We're diffusing it. I have a roll-on bottle that we'll take traveling with us, and we use it a lot. Okay, purification. Purification is also a blend. I would say the main note I smell in purification is citronella. So if you're familiar with citronella for keeping away bugs, citronella candles, stuff like that, that's what purification smells like to me, but it has some other oils in there that's blended together. Purification purifies. So it purifies odor, it purifies the air. You can enjoy the outdoors without annoyance around you. Like I said, citronella candles are used. You can put it on a cotton ball and put it in stinky shoes. I'll add it. I use wool dryer balls instead of dryer sheets for the laundry. And so I'll put a drop of the purification on those balls to freshen up the laundry. Love purification. So I would say Thieves and Purification probably are our two favorite oils. Panaway used to be called PANAWAY, believe it or not. But Panaway can be used as a balm for your muscles. You can use it in an Epsom salt bath. Remember, oil and water don't mix. So when you add oils to your bath, you always want to put it in your salts first. So what I do is I get a handful of bath salts, like Epsom salt. I get it from Costco, big box. And then I'll put my essential oil on the salt and then throw that salt with the infused oil on it into the bath. So Panaway is one that you want to add to your gym bag and take with you. COPAIBA, so this is a funny one. A lot of people have never heard of COPAIBA. So you have to say it like and do a salsa dance at the same time. You have to say COPAIBA, okay? And COPAIBA is important for overall wellness. It has molecules and constituents in it that are very powerful for health. We call this the magnifier oil because when you put an essential oil together, so say I want to use lavender right before bed to help calm me down and go to sleep, right? I'll put it in the diffuser with COPAIBA because COPAIBA will magnify the effects of the lavender oil. So say I have a lot of tension in my neck and I want to use the peppermint or the Panaway. Well, peppermint, Panaway, and COPAIBA is a great trio together. So you can just put one drop each on the back of your neck if that's where the tension is, and then you're good to go your day. DIGES is another blend that I really like. It's used in wellness, but DIGES is for digestive system. So it's used as a dietary supplement. It has fennel in there, which dates back to ancient Egypt, traditionally used for digestive support. So like I said, there's many different uses for your oils. When I was first talking about lavender and peppermint oil and lemon oil, they had a lot of different uses. DIGES, I would say, has one use only. It's for digestive support. So if you feel like your belly has a bubble in it, or if you overate on Thanksgiving, something like that, it's really good for supporting the digestive system. So that's the end of my presentation. My website is plusoils.com. And I'm going to turn it over to Molly to see if there was any questions that were asked.
We just got one that came in. Let me just try to read it. This one says, can peppermint and spearmint be interchanged?
They do have similar molecular compounds. They both have that minty feeling to it. I would say peppermint is a lot more powerful than spearmint. Spearmint actually has more of a sweetness to it that peppermint doesn't. Peppermint's more earthy. If your peppermint smells like a candy cane, that's probably not pure peppermint. It should have an earthiness to it. But yeah, I would say they have similar uses. I would use spearmint more for maybe flavoring my water, because peppermint's just more powerful for topical use.
Thank you. And then a follow-up from the same person, what is corn mint used for?
Corn mint, I've never heard of that. I do not believe it is an essential oil.
Okay. So that's our only two questions so far. I'll just give a moment if anybody else has questions, feel free to fill them out.
But if anyone has any other questions, my website is plusoils.com, and I'm happy to answer them. There's a contact page there, but also if there was anything that we spoke about today that you would like to smell any of my oils, because this is an online webinar, I'm happy to mail it to you if you would like to smell. I can put a drop on a cotton ball. Remember, it's the cheapest diffuser, and then I can put it in the mail to you. You could smell it.
That's very nice of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no more questions yet. So I guess if people want to follow up, they can just contact you directly, right? At your website?
Absolutely, yep.
Okay.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining us. For people who are still here, I'm just going to put up a quick slide with a save the date for our next program.
Okay, great.
So I'm just going
Thanks,
to
Molly.
switch over. Sure. All right, thanks everybody for attending. Thank you, Jen. Please feel free to reach out to Jen if you have more questions about the topic today. I just want to draw your attention to our next event, Sunday, June 7th at 4 p.m. We will have our next Open Book, Open Mind event with Jesse Wegman in conversation with Jim Johnson about Jesse's book, Let the People Pick the President, which is about the Electoral College. Very interesting topic. And
very relevant.
Yes, very relevant, very topical. Very excited to have that conversation. I think it will be very eye-opening and educational. Yeah, yes. So I hope to see you there. And don't forget to fill out our survey. We'll be sending everybody a survey via email following the webinar, and we'd love to hear your feedback. I think that's it. I'll end the webinar in just a moment. Thanks,
Great,
everybody.
thank you. Good night. Bye-bye.